I'm going to tell you all when I get the notification. And here we go. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have a great couple that we look forward to hearing from. First of all, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
We have Brother Marquis and Sister Neelam, and we look forward to hearing you all's amazing love story. Now, many of us have seen you all through the lens of social media, but now we're very grateful that we can see you all up close and personal to hear from you all's words, how you all fell in love. So the first thing that we want to know is who, I'm gonna start with you, Brother Marquis, who chose on who first?
Well, she definitely chose on me first. Minding my business, trying to live my life, and some girl, I had a stalker, like literally. So in your
dreams.
But I think you like me first.
Yes, as you should. The women should choose their mates, and once we choose, we make them choose. Period.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Okay. And Sister Neelam, what was it about Brother Marquis that made you choose?
For me, it's morals over like woke and religious and conscious for me. And I would like witness him do certain things like, go to a brother or someone and say sorry for something he's did. Or I see him in a conversation where people got some juicy tea and he'd be like, wait, I don't want to hear that, or they're not here. And I'd be like, dang, you really don't want to hear this tea? Or like, apologizing. Oh, and then just even like telling the truth when it's terrible. Like I witnessed him do that. But one thing for me, I feel like it's important to pay attention to like people, what they do. Like, even if you're with them, if they're like lying to someone else in front of you, even though they're not lying to you, it's like low-key when you do that to me. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen him just be so truthful and so, I don't know, is this honesty, morals, good person, funny, dope, hood, religious? It's just a big mixture of just perfect. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And Brother Marquis, where did you take Sister Neelam on your first date?
Oh, you gotta do me like that. Damn, it's been 10 years, brother.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Okay, the reason why that's a little muddy is because we were friends, you know what I mean? So it was hard to know, like we all moved like as a unit as friends. And then I think finally, I guess we could say when we started courting, that's when we could say it was official, right? Mm-hmm. And but by then, I don't know, it's like the movies, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know what our first date was, to be honest.
Did we ever go to the movie by ourselves? We always have friends.
Yeah, because we collided with a team of people. So it was like it was her sisters, it was my brothers, it was like a lot of us who was all chilling. Like it was squad. It was like our own squad, and we did everything together. So it was just kind of like that. But I don't know what I really don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Brother Marquis, I know your parents, and they watched me grow up and watched us grow up. How did your parents feel about you introducing Sister Neelam to them?
Okay, so it was actually my mother who chose Neelam for me, to be honest. Because I actually came to my mother about another girl.
Tried it.
And but Neelam was my friend. This is what was hard. I don't play around with the sisterhood. You know what I'm saying? So and that's always a conflict, because then some sisters will feel like you don't like them. You know what I'm saying? Or so it's just always been a weird thing. So I had this radar that that just kind of like kept me from going that way. And then it was my mother who actually said to me, who was like, well, what about Neelam? And then I remember just thinking like, Neelam, like my friend, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I just didn't really, jump on it. But that was like the first time that seed was like, implanted into me. So instead of me having to tell my mother was already aware. Real recognized real.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, excellent. Shout out to Sister Valerie for being on top of that. And for you, Sister Neelam, how did your parents feel about Brother Marquis?
The second time I ever went to mosque, it was Youth Sunday and Marquis was speaking. And my mom looked at me and my sisters and said, when are y'all marrying him? So she liked him. So obviously she approved. And Marquis wasn't used to someone having a dad. So in the beginning, my dad loves him. And
me and her dad had friction in the beginning because every girl I ever been with, they daddy was gone. So, you know, you never dealt with other lions and stuff. So,
yeah.
you know, yeah. But we ended up being like really, really great with each other.
My dad's the best, and they're just the best. They're the best men in my life.
Love that guy.
Okay, praise be to Allah. Well, Marquis, what advice would you give to young men who may have a strong father-in-law to deal with? What's the best way to resolve that situation?
I think really when it comes down to it, I'm trying to tell myself. Get away. You asked me. But I think the first thing it's going to come down is humility. I think that if you can just be humble, you know what I mean? Like when all boils down, what are you trying to win? You know what I mean? So it's not like this guy isn't competing with you for the being in love with his daughter. You know what I'm saying? It's not like some other guy. So, you know, when you sometimes like you ain't got to get the last word. If you're not in a place where this person's moving in your house and, you know, it's one thing if it's your house and you got to do certain things or whatever, but for the most part, what's the threat? You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's about really being humble and just recognizing that, you know, if you can show respect, then I think that most likely is what's going to get you across and get you through. And I think that was the biggest thing for us. You know, we all came out of weird environments out here, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes when someone pressed at you, you press back, you know what I mean? Instead of just learning like, it don't hurt me, you know what I mean? For someone to press at me or whatever, you know? And it's just you know, you just show respect and kind of just take the low road and without feeling like a punk, then you know, you recognize and realize that there's really not a lot, you know, that's not there. But always respect is big because it still is, there's a difference between being humble and being weak. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, you know, even though they both do the same thing, for example, like if someone tries to fight you, you can be like, no, I don't want to fight. Now, the person who's weak could be like, no, I don't want to fight. The person who's humble could be like, no, I don't want to fight. But they're doing it for two different reasons. You know what I'm saying? So I think that when your reason isn't that you feel emasculated or like a punk, but you're doing it because you know, it's just kind of like I don't get anything out of this fight. Then I think ultimately you start to win the respect and then putting your hand out before they put their hand out. So I gave him that, you know, that platform, and it ended up, you know, he ended up being not just a great person, but a great teacher for me also.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, excellent. And Sister Neelam, and thank you all for continuing to watch the People's Podcast. And I see you all's comments. Sister Neelam, who said I love you first?
I did, but I'm a lovable person. Like I'll say I love you to my friends. So it was very easy for me to say I love you to him because I did. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes,
and the way I was raised, like me and my sisters, like when we get off the phone with each other, we say I love you. Like we say that. There's people who look at us like, hey, you guys say I love you a lot. It's like, yeah, that's like how we say goodbye.
Don't water down the love that you got. Don't water it down.
I'm not.
You never would say I love you when we was friends. Like, you said that. No, you didn't. I love you. Like, you didn't do that.
No, not like that.
Like,
but it's like, I love you. Whatever. So it was me.
You want to be friends. So I just say love you to everybody. Like, you're lying. I never seen you say I love you to no brother. You said it to me.
Okay, Brother Marquis, how did you know that you loved Sister Neelam?
Okay, that's a real quick. Isolation, jail, but pretty much, yeah. That for me, you know Fahim. I don't know you know Fahim, but yeah. So me and Fahim was we got new cars, so we was just in a move to try to get to the same destination faster than the other person on the freeway.
They were racing.
The cops called it racing. Hold on, we were just trying to get to the same destination quicker than the other, you know. So we ended up getting chased by the cops, so much stuff. We go to jail together, right? And pretty much he got out. You know, they let the buff one out, and then I'm in there alone. And I ended up, you know, in a situation where you have a lot of time to think. I ended up in another cell with a lot of other guys who were all pretty much. A lot of things was domestic. A lot of things was revolving around them with women, even if it was you beat up your sister's, you know, boyfriend or something, you know, but everyone was in there. So I ended up literally sitting down in the middle of this cell. There's literally about 16 to 20 of us just going question for question with brothers. And then when I got put in my own, then I was sitting there and I just really started to recognize who I missed because we had such a crowd of people that we were all together with. Everyone is kind of, you know, everyone just, it's just all love. But I remember sitting in the cell going like, man, I miss her, you know, specifically, not really everyone else so much. And that started to let me know it created a target for me. You know what I mean? And it taught me that I don't want to waste time in my life because, you know, when people think about sitting in a cell like you're afraid of. And I was in it for like 3 days. I wasn't in it for 2 years sitting there. It don't take long for me. You know what I mean? You know how rappers be like, you can't do 9 years like me. You're right. I don't want to do that. Like, no, sir. No, sir. So when I was in there, I'm like, man, this is a waste of time. It ain't about fighting, it ain't about nothing. It's just about, I don't want to waste time. And I know that I like her now. And so I'm at least start the process of courting. And I think that was when I knew. I didn't tell her I love her though, but I knew. Yeah.
Praise be to Allah. Okay. Well, how do you go from being in jail, coming out, you're dedicated? What are the steps that you take to propose, and how did you propose?
Steps I take. Okay, courtship was huge for me. It was huge for me because I've dated before. You know what I'm saying? So back when I've done like dating, man, it's like you are in these relationships and you don't know if you're in a marriage or what. You know, by the time the end of it, there was no strings, there was no nothing, and it's just like, man, that was a lot of life and a lot of emotion and a lot of everything. So when I got wind of courting, I liked it because it felt more cold for me. And I know people don't like the cold, but I like the cold because I've been in the heat, you know, where it's just too hot. And I liked how courtship, she knew when we court, I didn't get her no gifts. I didn't nothing because I just felt like, and I didn't lie about nothing. I just felt like, and I didn't want her to. I wasn't pressuring her to be anything. So I just felt like just being real, the courtship helped me get steps there because it was hard for me to be a person to like kind of settle down and just fall in love. So every step of the way, you know, worked it for me. And then I remember when I still wasn't sure of whether I want to get married or not, I just said, you know what, give myself, her birthday's in 3 months, just start the process of even looking, you know what I'm saying? And the process is what kind of solidified it for me. Once I was like searching for a ring, I had to like figure out certain things. I had to be creative in asking her certain questions, just asking things to even see what kind of proposal she's into without saying it. You know what I mean? And the more I started trying to learn about her to propose to her, the more I wanted to propose to her. You know what I mean? And so ultimately, like looking for the ring, doing all that kind of stuff, it started. And then, and the hard part is I'm lying too. This is the basic. I'm like, man, I'm at the store, you know, and I'm literally looking at rings. You know what I mean? And I think that process, really, the proposal process, is what really, you know, created that. It really built the bridge between me wanting to be married and me wanting to live out here like a single lion.
Yes. and how did you propose?
Oh, okay. So I took her up into this like this hill that where it's like this water all at the end. It's like a whole crazy, like the view that it just was like this crazy scene, right? And pretty much how I did it was her birthday, so it's good because she won't see it coming. I went and I got up everything that she really likes, like her favorite, like I always used to say to her, if we did like a picnic, what it would be like your favorite, what's your favorite, you know, cupcake, what's your favorite this? So I went and got sprinkles, I went and got grape juice because that's her specific. I went and got, you know, these type of sandwiches, this type of that, this type of this.
He made his mom make salmon salad sandwiches because her sandwiches is bomb and that's what I live.
Right. So she doesn't know I have any of this. So I just told her like, you know, and you know me, I joke a lot. So I'm like, okay, let's go get something to eat. Now I knew not to do like the big restaurant kind of scene because I know that's not what she's into. And this is based off of the process.
Okay.
So, you know, we're driving and I'm like, oh, let's just find something. And then I just keep going and we're just going, you know, forever. And then I ended up, we ended up where we're at. Now I had this poster that I drew up myself. I think it's good when you put your own character into it. You know what I mean? Like I know I I took some markers. It was crooked, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, it was me, you know what I'm saying? So, and I had it already, there was this area around the side where I literally had it already taped up, like literally taped, you know what I'm saying? And so we're sitting down. So I'm just like, you know, there's nowhere to eat or whatever. Let's just sit down over here at this park where to sit down. You know what I'm saying? And when we sit down, I'm like, man, I'm hungry. Let me get some, you know, so first I went and said, let me get a blanket. So I get a blanket. And I pretty much step by step kept surprising her with the next thing, with the next thing, with the next thing. Then I pull out music. It's her favorite song, you know, everything. So then I told her, come over here. Let's go take a look at the view. And we was looking at the view where this water was at. And while she's looking out at the view, I look back at where my sign is. And then I said, damn, why people got to mess this up with graffiti? And so she looks back at the sign to see it. And she's trying to look at it. When she looks, I go down to a knee. And so by the time she looks back, she looks down, I have the ring out and she starts crying. And it is so, and that's pretty much a way to,
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. That's a pleasant moment in my life. That was really surprising to go see that sign. Mind you, the sign was so funny. It said like, "Will you marry?" And he ran out of space, so me was very small.
Okay.
I was like, "That's so cute." And then I turned around and he's just down, and I was like, "Well, I'm done." So yeah.
Okay, excellent. And Sister Neelam, what was it about? Okay, hold on. I'm not gonna hold on 1 second. Sorry, y'all. The camera. 1 second. This when you happen when you do your own tech on your own side. Okay, hold on. Shout out to the 4K sponsors of the cameras and all of that. Okay, Sister Neelam, what was it about him that made you accept his proposal?
As far as us courting, and how long did we court?
We courted for a year.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like, it's like I knew like I want to marry you. So, do the process of our friendship. You know what? It was really our friendship. I think it's important to be friends with the person because I feel like that's the biggest thing that even what makes our marriage works now after these 10 years. It's like, this is my like best friend, not just like my husband, but even, sorry, I'm everywhere. But yeah, I knew I wanted to marry him. He was my best friend, literally. Like whenever something happens, I want to call him first. Even like I could be in the Bahamas and I'll feel like, dang, I wish he was here. You know what I'm saying? Can't even enjoy it as much because like my best friend isn't here. So yeah, it was very easy for me. And like I told you in the beginning, all the things about his morals and him as a person, it was a wrap for me. So yeah.
Okay, excellent. Now, Brother Marquis, you got to give us the code. So many men have been the worst nightmare. I mean, for me, it was 8th grade. That was the last time I was in the friend zone. I decided never to be in the friend zone again. How did you go from being in the friend zone to marrying that girl? That's like some stuff for TV and movies.
Man, the friend zone is extremely tough. And I'm gonna say this: when I've ever like actively wanted to get out of friend zones and stuff like that, that's when I did the worst. It seems like the more you care about things, the less you good with every other girl, but the girl you want is the one you have the biggest trouble and the problem with. And I think that my mindset of trying to keep myself from trying to do wrong by her and just, really loving her as a friend, I think is what made it gradually go there, because I genuinely wasn't trying to get out of the friend zone, to be honest. Like, and I think things work for me better when I'm in that kind of mindset. So for me, I was my brutal self. And then when you've been through other relationships, when you've broken hearts, but when you've had your heart broken too, I was a closed up guy. So it was easier for me because I was closed, you know what I mean? So for me, it was really nothing. So I think what happened with her, I don't know, but sometimes it's about when they know that you don't worship them. I'd be weird, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
you at the
sir.
same time. And I think that it was the understanding that I'm not really selling. I'm just being, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'm not going to adjust it for nothing or what it's not. And I'm trying to be my best self. I'm not like just being a dirty old bum who don't care. I care, but I'm not, at that time, I don't know, because I was in between searching and not searching. You know what I mean? It's like I want, but I don't know how to open up. So I think honestly, it was about, for me, just being myself, man. Not really worshiping, but really just being in my beingness, to be honest.
Okay, excellent. And thank you for both of you all for your transparency and your honesty. I have so many comments. Thank you all very much for your comments. My next question for you, Sister Neelam, is being married. When you accepted the proposal to Brother Marquis, he was a youth minister. He was singing, very popular, very talented. Had done all kind of commercials. I went to LA with my father, and I saw how the LA brothers was lit. I was like, oh, these are the superstars. I went back to Chicago telling them, like, hey, look, we got to step our game up. Were you ever insecure about marrying somebody who's so popular at the time?
No, I just was just super supportive and like wanting him to reach his full potential and like doing whatever I can to help because he's just so talented. He's like, there's just so much that he could do. It's actually really weird and he does it well. So it's just like, I don't know. I was just always doing the best thing I could to just be supportive. And yeah, and I loved it.
Okay, excellent. And but Marquise, how did you go from where you were being more in the front to now you were married to someone and she started
Hey, can I
rapping and
say
things of
something?
that nature?
Can
Ma'am?
I say something? Sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
The reason why I wasn't insecure because I just feel like, you know, um, you're talking about insecure, like it, like will he like will something weird happen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, like because I just feel like I have trust, right? And I'm not going to be in a relationship where I feel shaky. And if I do, it's like if you, I don't know. I just feel like
She a
if
Scorpio.
something, yeah, if something happens, you play yourself. Like you're gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? So
All right, okay.
I'm
You
not
lost
even,
out, brother.
I'm not being like that. But I'm just saying, like, just on facts, like it's just like that would be very unfortunate for you. Like you would lose. Of course, I trust me, I would be sad. I love him, but you know, if you play yourself, you play yourself. You know what I'm saying? And
Can I say something? I think that was one thing that was consistent about both of us was I remember thinking like, I want to work to where I'm a prize for somebody.
yes,
And she was, you know what I'm saying? And because I knew what I want to, that I'm willing to give. Like I'm already willing to exalt, I'm already willing to love, but I feel like you want to come in like you got something to offer. And I think that we both came in kind of like, people say it's half your marriage, but you come in like 100% of yourself, things work out a lot better.
Right, right, absolutely. So,
Okay, excellent. And but Marquise, now the roles almost seem like where I came up, I didn't know Sidney Lime. All me coming up, I knew but Marquise was the DI. He was always the face of everything. And then now but Marquise seems more like the Jay-Z figure where it's like he's laid and your wife is more in the limelight. How did you make that adjustment?
Well, for me, it wasn't really hard because first of all, me and Neelam, everything we've done together. So Neelam was already a huge part of stuff that we did. Even when I was doing a new, we always called her like our fourth member because it was kind of like, and I was big on not trying to live the life where I'm just a businessman and you know, especially with all the traveling, it's like if I'm gonna pull my wife into something like this, then I want to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't keep things separate. We kept everything really in. She was always a part of everything. So we got a business relationship and learned how to work together based off of our projects, off of my project. And you see, I call it our project because that's how it always worked. And I've always been used to, even though I, you know, put a new together, like formed with the three brothers, you would notice that I wasn't the lead singer. You get what I'm saying? So I never had a problem with, in a way, leading from the back. Like it was never, you know, something like that. I got off the stage from ministry. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I never had a problem with, I don't know. I like for your work to speak for you more than you. So are we in downtown LA? It sound like they good? Okay. Protest, yeah. They'd be protesting down here. It'd be cool. But yeah, so when it happened for me, it was just the same thing. Like, you know, I still moved on. Like, you know, Mark, we went on and me and Mark partner got a business and then just went and just pushed right behind her. And it wasn't really hard. You know, I already do marketing. We already do managing, branding, all that kind of stuff. I'm already in music. We're already in a lot of stuff. So I think that it was like doing the same project. Like people look at it, but to me, it's just the same project. My brothers are still involved with this. You know, like everything I do is just the same thing. It's just energy. I move the energy this way. If we're supporting this move, then we're supporting that move. And that's just really how it worked for me. So it really was nothing. And I love to do it.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, excellent. I gotta ask you my question. Me, my brother, and my nephew, we were big fans of Anu before you all made it to like the nation's hype and all that. I'm talking about the early days. Are you ever gonna release your early music? Can we ever get that again, or is that just gone forever? Like, what's up?
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I mean, just came and asked about that yesterday, right? So the earlier new stuff, I don't even have it. You know what I mean? So I don't even know like where that stuff is, to be honest. You know, but the other members, I'm still like, you know, in touch with people like, you know, like Eric Bellinger. You know, he ended up doing, you know, making it really nice and hitting his R&B thing as a writer for Bieber, everybody. So the last time I even heard anything was when he had put something online like years ago that was from our old and new projects. And you know, so it's funny you say that, but that's really, I remember being in Chicago and your family played it out the van. Yeah, I was like, oh, they cool, right. And that was back when you had to have an actual CD too. That was real love. So it's funny, but someone just asked me about that yesterday. I don't know where any of that stuff is. I move on quick. So it's like when something happens, I'm like, okay, and I go. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know where any of that is, but I'm sure if we find some stuff, it would be interesting to be able to look into that stuff. Because a lot of people who love that.
Absolutely. Okay.
And he's talking about the old and new. Not Mark wasn't in that. That's Justin. That's Eric. Yeah. Solo. It's crazy. Shout out to all them guys.
I'll make him find it and then he'll keep you posted.
Please. I mean, because it was some amazing music, and we felt connected because this was before the believing community was. So we didn't have too many projects we could push for people who was like one of us. So when I came back from LA, I'm telling everybody in Chicago, look, we got some groups, bro. This are our people, you know what I'm saying? So we was excited.
Yeah, we appreciate the love, man.
Praise be to Allah. Sister Neelam, what has been your greatest trial in marriage, and how have you overcome that?
The greatest trial was
herself. I'm joking.
was giving birth.
Ooh.
Like I have like really easy pregnancies, but very tough birthing experiences. And I would say like that's the one thing that I didn't overcome. If you get what I'm saying, like I just don't. That's like a scary thing to me. I can't watch a girl in contractions. Like I can't even be around it without like getting re-stimulated. And like I watched like Sister Fatima. I watched a lot of births that were just like amazing and like and this is before I was even like thought of pregnant. So watching them go through it, I'm like, yeah, this is doable. So then when it came to me, it was just like, why was it like this? You know what I'm saying? So that was like a frustrating thing for me because you even ask like, why was my experience like that? You know what I'm saying? Like hers wasn't hers. Why did that happen to me?
Yes,
and even like for future pregnancies, if that happens, whatever, like it's kind of scary for me because I'm just like, it's kind of like if you've been burned before and then you're like, okay, so, in about 6 months, you're going to just do that again. Okay. And I would be like, just the fear you would have, like, dang, I got to do this on January 30th. I got to burn my hand again. Like, and it's just like, how that feels. And yeah, people are like, but hey, you survived it. You're okay. But it's like, yeah, but burning my hand was just like a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Birthing was like a lot. But, I'm alive. We did it. I have children. I love them. But that was a big trial.
Yes, and Brother Marquis, speaking of that trial, I interviewed a couple. It was Brother Tariq, matter of fact, and he was explaining, because I didn't have this in the questions. He said that
Shout out. That's New York, right?
Yes, sir.
We're New York. All right.
So he was saying that he had to stay at the top of the in the birthing center. And he almost passed out and almost cried. Like he was like, I was like, damn, sorry, I never heard it from the man's standpoint like that. When you were in the room, how did it affect you as a man?
Well, the way that affected me, first, I just want to say that what always seems to give me strength is body armor water. I'm sorry, look, we got to at least 10 post-ups. So look, this water helps a lot. And, okay, I'm done. All right, here we go. Make sure you get your body armor. Not because they pay us. All right, listen. So what really, no. When it was time to go in there, I don't know. I don't know if you've seen my last trip in Africa, but I literally went and took out in Kenya, got the cardiac, the
cardiacs in the eye.
Yeah, the cataracts in the eyes that you take out. Literally watching full surgeries. We brought doctors out there to do it. Yeah, she almost fainted. It was crazy. So I don't have a problem with like the surgery and stuff like that, like all that kind of stuff.
I had emergency C-section.
Yeah.
After going all the way to 10 centimeters.
I think for me it's someone that you love and everything keeps going out of your hands. Like we were very big on hypnobirthing, like all the deep stuff you can think of. And it just at a certain point, it almost felt like Allah wanted to check me or something, like wanted to let me know who I'm not. So it was just every moment that things kept going. When it started to fall, she hits 10 centimeters and then for this is happening, that's happening. It just became, and we had just came from a show of mine the night before. So we didn't sleep at all. Like, I mean, it was just the worst day, you know what I mean? And so I got dragged to the wire, you know what I mean? But when it came down to actually watching the stuff, I was cool. Until we went to the C-section room. And then when I just saw them, like, the tools they started pulling out and everything, and they just was just like, okay, cool, give me that AK-47. And they started shooting her up. I was like, this is beyond me. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know. But and then to see her face, you know, they numb them up, so her face is really like, what are they doing? And then I'm like, you don't feel this, like, and I'm just watching them like, bah, 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 like, you know, like.
I remember I was like, Marquis, it smells like fire, and he's like, yeah, they got a torch, like they're like burning through a layer of muscle right now, and I'm just like, ow.
It pretty much dragged me. It was like, it just took me to the core, and I was just, you know, it was pretty just exhausting. Just going through that. Birthing experiences, everything is good for us, but that is not it. The actual birthing experiment is not. When she's pregnant, we are solid. It's all good. Look at me saying we. I ain't got to do nothing. I'm good all the time. I love pregnancy. Okay, I'm done. No, I don't. No, but when it gets real, it gets real. And for us, that's always been a yeah. I hope I answered that.
No, you did.
But you know, okay, I'm done. All right, go ahead.
Absolutely. But Marquis, what has been your greatest trial, and how have you overcome it in marriage?
My greatest trial is, now that I understand money more, was the ups and downs of investment. You know, like when we first got together by Allah's grace, by the time we was getting married, just closed the deal, $2 million deal for my production company. So you know what I mean? Yeah, you running, you like, man, you moving. But the fall is a fall. Like, you know what I mean? So there's nothing like going to the bank with $30 in the bank and overdrafting, taking out 300. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'll pay the $35 over because that's where it's at. We had situations where literally $10, this is what we're gonna eat at the 99-cent store. You know, $1 for eggs, $1 for salad. When you buy eggs at 99-cent store, there's a problem. You get what I'm saying? So it's but we're literally $1 at a time. Okay, and this last dollar is for the taxes. You know what I'm saying? So the fall from grace of just the ups and downs of when you're an entrepreneur and you're running your own stuff, you come in, you can get a $50,000 check, boom, you in there, and then that money that early in the game, your bills, they go up. You know what I mean? And if you're not investing into your assets and different things that are outside of your income, then it could be tough. So, you know, I didn't understand the setup. I just we moved up, you know, and I think that was one of the biggest trials, but that taught me more about her than anything. It taught me more about myself. You know what I mean? Shout out to the book. Why? Look at that. Whenever I say something good about her, she want to know why. Why? So what did you learn about me? What did I do? Okay.
Didn't you want to know why? What do you mean?
Well, because in this, you showed me that we know how to, when an enemy comes into a relationship, which could be finances, it could be anything, that you got to treat everything like it's an enemy and like you're a team together, you know, against the enemy. But what happens is he loses his job or she goes through this or whatever, and we bring it right in and use it as a battle versus each other. And Neelam showed me how she's able to come in and be able to ride as a unit against everything else. And I think that is huge. You know what I mean? Especially if you're dealing with someone, I don't even want to say if you're dealing with someone who has potential, if you're dealing with someone who's willing to work their potential, because having potential don't mean nothing. But if you're willing to work your potential, then it's easier to stick, you know? And I think with Neelam, she gave me that room. Like she really was there. That's what I'm saying. I have me supporting her, pushing her brand, marketing, doing everything. I'll go to war for Neelam because we've been through war together, and I see how she has my back when it matters. You know what I mean? And when it don't matter. So I felt like that was that answered the question. I forgot the question was, but yeah.
No, absolutely, you did. And Sister Neelam, I hear a lot of women. I thank you all both for your transparency, and thank you all for watching the People's Podcast. I see your comments, and I'm coming to them. I see a lot of women, a lot of sisters who talk about finances, and you know, we live in a different era from our parents where the ride or die thing may not be as easy right now. It might be easy for women to leave. What was it about Brother Marquis that made you ride with him when things got tight?
Because I'm an undercover thug. And I just feel like, yeah, like it's funny how you said that, but like all the problems that we've had in our marriage have been outside things, not really internally, which is great. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. I feel like I have this very optimistic like mindset, and I just know that a lot of things are temporary. You might be in like a weird season, but it's temporary. And I just always feel like we're gonna get through this. So because I feel like that, I just ride through it, and then we end up getting through it. So it's like, yeah, every time I'm right, But you know, whatever you say, you're right about if you really believe that. And I really be believing like, oh, we're gonna get through this. So I guess that's why I cool with the thug times. Cause yeah.
Praise be to Allah. And bro Marquis, that's such a blessing, bro. It's hard out here. It's hard to find a woman who got that mindset. Yes, sir. And speaking of that, before I have 4 questions for you all. Thank you all for watching. I just have a quick commercial break because speaking of money, we have our sponsors this episode. I want to just make sure that I share this. This is our first time doing the commercial, but I had to show love to all of the people who have sponsored. Okay, this is my first time doing this. Forgive me. Marquis is such a master at this. Boom, right here. All right, here we go. Hold on. I want to thank all of my. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Boom. All right, let me go to the first one. All right, there we go. Boom. I want to thank all of the sponsors of Off the Record on the People's Podcast for your continual support. I want to make sure I go to each slide. Boom. All right, I want to thank Street Premiere, video production, media production, 4K cameras. That's my brother Rashad and Jamal. They do such a great job. Without their sponsorship and their camera work and all of that, we would not be able to keep going. I want to make sure I thank my sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me, children's book on Amazon. Thank you all for your support, Mimi. Thank you very much for always holding it down. It's on Amazon. Make sure you all get it. Also, ma'am.
I said, send me one of those and I'll promote it.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Oh, that's a done deal. My sister Naima's ballet dance academy, Stay on Point Dance Academy. She teaches young girls how to do ballet virtually. She has a lot of clients, and I'm just fascinated to see her, do her thing with ballet. Thank you, Naima, for your support. Okay, the slides are coming. I'm just gotta get them out. Boom, boom. Here we go. Next, Supreme Men's Clothing in St. Louis. Our brother in St. Louis always shows love. If y'all need to get some clothes, he'll ship them all around the country. Thank you, my brother. Boom. Also, Big Ron in Phoenix, Vice President, Security Manager of BMW Entertainment. They do event planning all over the country. Ronald is a top 5 alumni. He's always on the People's Podcast showing love. Raising Black Millionaires. They have flashcards where they teach young Black people about economic empowerment and development. I thank you, Sister Tia, for your support, and Brother Gilbert as well. Boom. Next, Brother Kenneth Muhammad, Bow Ties, Maker Extraordinaire. Brother had a great testimony the other day on the People's Podcast, so I thank you very much for always tapping in. Brother Todd X McGraw, Supreme Team Insurance. Thank you very much. If y'all need some insurance, reach out to our brother. Exodus Credit Restoration. They're going to look out for me, make sure my credit is good. Colleagues Boutique, thank you for the shirt that you sent me. I appreciate that. Great. The Express and X Factor and Express, they ship refrigerating. Thank you very much. To our brother Chantel, always holding it down. I'm coming right back to you, Brother Marquis and Sister Neelam. Our brother Maurice D. Muhammad, he does selling gold. Shout out to you. Thank you very much, my brother. Sister Landra El Muhammad, Navy Bean, More Than Bean Pie. She does a great job. Boom. Oh, King Henry Turkey Legs, Dr. Henry M. Carter, one of my mentors, has his own turkey leg place, a restaurant, and he does a good job of catering during the time of the pandemic. Shout out to this sister who does a great job of home decoration. She has all this decor. I don't know I don't know too much about the girl stuff. I know she does a great job with it. Water for Life, Brother Dorsey Muhammad. Thank you, sir, all y'all in Baltimore for always promoting your water company, doing your thing. Brother Rashad Muhammad out of Chicago. He helped train myself and Brother Marquis. He has a COVID business where they do cleaning and stuff like that. He always put young people on in Chicago. Thank you very much, Brother Rashad, for your sponsorship. My father's book, get your copy of Soldier.
Great book.
It's an amazing book. Boom. My 2 books, No Father, No Excuse, and my children's books, Cleopatra. I thank you all very much for your sponsorship. That's my niece. Thank you all very much for your sponsorship. Cash App, the People's Podcast, and of course, me and the minister, the greatest endorsement I ever got for a business. So I thank you very much. Boom. Thank you. Back to you, Brother Marquis and Sister Neelam. And y'all don't know how nervous I just got doing that because that was my first time doing
that. That's where it's at, brother. You got to put it all together.
Yes, sir.
Future right here, man.
Yes, sir. Excellent. My next question for you is, how has the pandemic affected your relationship, Brother Marquis?
The pandemic It's been great for me, honestly. Reason me and Neelam was traveling a lot before that. We had just came from Kenya, from Africa, and literally. And the funny thing, we was out there. They was checking people for like thermometers. We wasn't aware of what was happening. We left from Savior's Day to go straight there from Detroit, and we didn't know what was going on. We just thought like, oh, it must be something out here, not recognizing that there's something popping off, everywhere or whatever. So by the time we got back, we had so much going on that honestly, I really appreciated everything stopping. Like all our things got canceled, the stuff that we was doing. So I loved it. The first month and a half, we was waking up at 3 o'clock. Yeah, we was like, cool, but we really needed that to slow down. Yeah, it was really about a month and a half in, you're like, okay, let's get, because there's so many opportunities right now. You know what I mean? And so we do everything as a unit. So, we get lazy as a unit and then we wake up like, okay, it's time to hit that unit. Yeah. So that was, it all is, I don't know. It's been really good. And we are together a lot. So I think for a lot of people, it's hard because they don't, people got to sit down and be with each other. But me and Neelam, we're together all the time. So it's not really a problem. She's a homebody anyway. So, this is nothing. I love it.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And Sister Neelam, how's the pandemic affected you?
Yeah, I really appreciate the slowdown, the stopping of everything. We had an interesting dynamic here in my home. My sister was here with her 4 children, making it 6 children in this house. So right before the pandemic, by God's grace, she made it back home. So for us, it was a whole new world. Like just having our 2 children was just like nothing. You know what I'm saying? So we were getting used to just kind of like being a smaller family. So it was just like dope to us, And yeah, I've been loving it. I'm an extreme homebody even before this pandemic. Like I leave when I have to. I never leave. Like I'm really weird. I stay here. I like my home. I by the law's grace we get blessed with even bigger home because I'm gonna stay there. But yeah, I love home. So this ain't nothing new to me. And yeah, we're just on the whole new pandemic grind because there's a lot going on now and people are getting it, and that's what we on. So yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And Brother Marquis, what advice would you give to future husbands?
Man, there's a lot of advice to give to future husbands. I think there's like, so you're saying when they're already married, advice type of things.
Huh?
You saying like when they're already married?
No, they're not married. They're not married. They're single, but they want to get married. Like, but they're about to become a husband. Like, what advice would you give to them?
Well, first thing is I think that water finds its level. I think that's important to know. So I think that it's about just focusing on being your best you, being your best self as best as possible. One thing that really worked for me, a reason why I guess when I said that my heart was closed at the time, but I was distracted. And at the time, because I was in ministry, I was distracted with the word. I hate to be like, oh, cliche, but seriously, I don't know what to say. But when you really start in a personal level to revolve around like God or just that high power for us, Allah. And I don't mean in the sense of like where you have to walk around and you got, it's like, hey, I'm Muhammad and it's a psychology of just can't nothing rock you, can't nothing move you. There's nothing out. I don't fear not getting with no one. I don't fear just the fear drops when you're just cycling around the most powerful force that there is. When that starts to happen, then everything becomes magnetic. Whatever you want comes. And that's why for me, when that was my focus, then my friend, I'm out here looking for, I need a woman. And to come to find your friend who's right there. The person you're looking for in the whole world is really, and I think the biggest problem today is it's the distractions. It's too many. We always thought we needed choices when you really don't. Okay, now you have iTunes where you have 1,000 songs and you still listen to 4. You know what I'm saying? It's like now you got Google Maps where you can get 1,000 restaurants. You're still eating the same 3. You know what I mean? So it's just, you think you need so much stuff for the world, but when it all boils down to it, your little world, whatever is attracted to you, if you keep putting your mindset and keeping it up at where you need it to be, then your world will attract whatever it needs to attract. And if you're going to the places and hanging with the right people who are going to be about that, we just had a positive energy that flew. And me and her pretty much stole the energy of our whole crew. and just decided to put it together, you know, in our marriage. We just went with the energy that was already there. And so I think when it comes to a man decide to get married, I think it's about first checking yourself, like finding out what it is. Talk with your sisters, you know what I'm saying? Talk with, you know, what is it about me? What about, sometimes you don't realize how much your sisters know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like when you just focus on you and you focus on revolving around God, I think that works. And then I think once you're in there, even before you get in there, I think the biggest thing goes down to communication. I think communication is it's huge. And I even, and this is gonna be weird to say this information, I even put that above, like, I can even say when it comes to a relationship, I put that almost not above believing in God, but the reason why I say this is this: you can have two believers and you can have two atheists. But if the believers don't know how to communicate to each other, you know, like he's just always throwing the minister in your face and she's always throwing that the other, then the relationship won't work. And you can have two atheists who don't believe in nothing, but they know how to communicate that to each other. And ultimately their relationship will work. It doesn't mean they get eternal life, whatever you want to believe in that's different. But as far as a relationship and dealing with someone else, it's about the communication. It's about how you communicate to each other. Because I've seen believers who really believe, but then I'll see them beat each other up with the belief. It's like you're not communicating that to each other right. Even a man who's beating up a woman, that's in his mindset, his demonstration of love. He's thinking he's, you know, that's the control he feels he needs, you know? So it's like, no, it's the way you're communicating yourself. It's a big thing. I think it's huge. And even if we start with that now and before you're married, just to constantly focus on these things. Because once you get in there, it's real and it's a lifetime event. And you start to recognize all the time that you thought you didn't have. Now you're in there and you're like, man, if I just had 2 more years to focus on this because I didn't see this coming. So I think that people be in a rush and a hurry and all that kind of stuff. And it's just focus. People think there's no one to marry out there. Oh, there's no one there. I hear 50 different people saying that. And I'm like, well, marry each other then, since y'all there's 50 solid ones. But it's distractions. At a certain time, you hone down, you focus on you, and you'll recognize what you need to recognize.
Beautiful. Okay, Brother Minister. Yes, sir. For those of y'all who don't know, Brother Marquis was an excellent youth minister and used to hold it down all the time. So, Sister Neelam, I'm coming to you, but I just want to tell a quick story. Brother Marquis, absolutely. Sister Neelam, I knew that you were the one for him because I was talking to him before he got married to you. And he was talking about you, but he wasn't saying your name because I didn't know you. And he was like, yo, I'm out. I'm like, you out? I'm thinking he tripping. He's like, yo, I'm out. I'm like, you out or what? Like, what you about to go? He was like, I'm about to get married. I'm about to do that. I said, what, Marquis? And we wound up talking so long because the way he was talking about you, I was like, who is this sister? Who is it? And then I saw it was you. So he definitely was the same way he was in front of you behind closed doors because I could not believe this is right after Michael Jackson. There was so much stuff going on. And he's talking about he get out the gas and Marquis, you tripping.
Then we went to the club, right? Then we go to the jokes. These are jokes.
Yeah. Sister Neelam, what advice would you give to future wives?
I would say women have been blessed with something that's called intuition, and it's really powerful. And I feel like sometimes we like dim that voice because, you know, we're lonely or he's cute or I don't know. I just feel like, you know, don't ignore that voice, don't ignore signs, and you know, just believe people when they say or do things. Really don't focus on like what's said, because people be saying some beautiful things. Just literally look at the proof in the pudding. Like, how do you act? How do you treat me? How do you treat others? You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's the most important thing, to just see it for what it is and try not to cloud it up. You know, that's why, and it is very important to, like, you know, try to, you know, do everything properly, because sex clouds things. So you want to be as clear as possible to protect yourself. So, you know, just see with clear eyes. You are very smart. You were born with intuition, and just follow it. And everything should work out if you don't dim those signs. Me.
Excellent job, Sister Minister Neelam. Okay. And then,
I'm everywhere.
And Brother Marquis, what advice would you give to future fathers?
The future fathers. I'll say this when it comes to being a father. My mindset is like this. I think sometimes we come in with that idea and or the mindset that, you know, I'm about to make a me or make a this and that the other. This is a whole different person who's coming in with their own way. And I'm not presenting to you necessarily the right thing or the wrong thing. I'm just presenting to you my experience, what I've observed. And if there's anything that's of good out of me, it came from this. You know what I'm saying? If there's anything that's bad, it came from that. So I feel like I treat it more like a tour guide. You know what I mean? And as a tour guide, you got to have laws, you got to have rules. It's pretty much, hi, on this tour, you can't, right at this age, you can't step over that, because you fall off the cliff. And I'm not waiting for you to learn that there's death down there, to do that. So I think that right now is very important in this world. And I also want to say to not treat them like they're dumb. Right now with the black man, the power is being ripped away from us, for our women against us, for our children against us. So a big part of it is our fault as men in using our ego and just kind of like sometimes just not really. I mean, all this time we've had the authority. So if you haven't learned by now how to use that, then it's going to all tell on you now, because at this point, the authority is being handed out. And if you don't know how to operate and move and be creative, know how to step in, how to step out, then ultimately everything is set up against you. And so I feel like treating my children like they are intelligent, not like they're just, while still holding a militant structure. You get what I'm saying? It's weird, but it's a balance. I think I'm everywhere with it, but I do feel like ultimately, and the reason why I say it like this too is because my children are not teenagers yet. So I don't feel all the way right just saying, hey, you know what I'm saying? Because I haven't produced a result. You know what I'm saying? What I have is what I've got thus far. And my son, he was put on the spectrum for autism. And autism taught me a lot, because it checked me on my theory, on what I thought. These are people who are doing their own thing, thinking the way that they think. Autism is exactly that. It's literally like, it's in a world where people try to make children communicate with them a certain way. When you have an autistic child, they make you communicate with them. This is how I learn. This is how I listen. And I'm actually brilliant. I'm actually really smart. If you don't, right. And it's kind of like that thing that Einstein said, that if you judge a fish off of its ability to climb, you'll always have that fish thinking it's an idiot. And sometimes when you a bear, you grew up in South Central, I got bear-like tendencies, but my son might be a fish, and I don't recognize that his abilities are different than mine. So sometimes it's like, okay, instead of me being in the street, bears know how to swim too, jump in the water and start using your other, the other things that to connect with this person. And then from that, it's helped me to learn and then treat my daughter the same way. I think the way people treat autistic children, the way you should treat children, to be honest. I think that, so with my daughter, we've realized we get more results and a lot of things out of her based off of how we deal with autism. Another thing is the structure. Drilling, things like that. For me, martial arts, these were the first communications me and my son had when I learned he's able to respond and understand what I'm saying. Where at a certain point where I'm trying to teach, and then at a certain point, it's like left, face, and he can do it. And I'm like, you understand me? And from there, we built a communication based off of the training given to us by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and based off of the training given to me from my master, Jabbar Muhammad, under Joe Steve Muhammad. I know he got a different name, but I keep it OG, man. We BKF all down. Black Rock Federation to the death, so you know what it is. So and shout out to that whole family, for real. We love all of them, and we pray for all of them, because that's one of us right there. But yeah, so pretty much that training though, that Joe training, that training from the nation has really helped me get a communication with my children while being flexible enough to let them have their own voice.
Beautiful. Okay, excellent. And thank you very much for your honesty and transparency, Brother Marquis. And Sister Neelam, what advice would you give to future mothers?
I would say, go easy on yourself. Go with the flow. And I don't know, for me, like, I had high expectations. I'm gonna do this, that. And then, like you said, having a child with autism, that changes your whole plan. You ain't got no plan. You gotta ride this wave. So just being able to be flexible and more like bamboo is very helpful. And yeah, like, I just feel like I'm a type of person who's like hard on myself, and like they're supposed to be doing this, that, you know, and it's just like, just be cool, calm, and collected, and everything's gonna work out. And yeah, be easy on yourself. Try to get help, and do the best you can, but don't be down your neck, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm weird.
She has to wrap it out. You know, what my children do is over here.
But that makes perfect sense.
I'm a doer, not a talker, so it's always weird for me to be.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. Brother Marquis, if you could choose any song to describe your love that you have for your wife, what song would that be?
Sex on Fire. Hold on. Okay, let me give you a song. That's a hard question, man. I gotta. What's a song? A song.
Sister Neelam, you can be thinking about yours while we're working on Brother Marquis.
You go first. Okay, go with it. Okay, let me think. I don't know. It's just like every song that comes to my mind, everything's so ratchet nowadays. It's just like, I gotta go back like to the '90s in my mind. Okay,
Mine's is happy.
For real?
I really, that's what I'm gonna just say. That is the hardest question you asked today.
That is a hard question. Yeah, it is. Man, a song. I'm really lost for words here. Beautiful. I just want you to go. You're my favorite girl. Just that part. All right. I don't know the rest of it. I'll rock with that.
Okay, excellent. Well, I want to thank both of you all. This means so much to me, my family, the viewing audience of the People's Podcast. We appreciate you all for taking time out of your busy schedule. I learned a lot about you. I always had a love for Brother Marquis, but this is not my first time really having a conversation with you outside of when we were in LA the last time. Thank you, Brother Marquis, for every time I go to LA. Brother Marquis has been a great tour guide, and somehow we bump into each other. He always going to show me where to go, where not to go, and all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate that. Sister Neelam, my sisters love you, my mother, my family. We thank you all for your positive work. Brother Marquis, you already know how I feel about your moms, your brothers, your sisters, nothing but love. Now your children. I look forward to having it, watching them grow up. So this means a lot to me.
Can I give my last shout out?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, I just want to first thank the Honorable Minister Farrakhan for this whole community. I thank the Most High Elijah Muhammad for teaching him. That's for Muhammad. Love us, the nation. I want to say a special shout out specifically to I know they got other names. I still call Brother Malik Minister Tony, but I do want to give a shout out to Sister Connie, Brother Steve, Atala, Nadia, Khalid, and all of them out there. We love Brother Assad, and he's forever in our hearts. He was the crossbreed between Atlanta and LA. So you know what I mean. That was my first time loving people outside of my city. Was a family. You know what I mean? Seriously. So I just really want to give that shout out because we love everybody and all the Atlanta believers. We love all y'all, and to your family and your mother especially.
Absolutely. Thank you all for tapping in, and thank you all for watching the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.